It is now time for our feature presentation. Spoiler warnings.
Alright, the next movie tonight that we're going to review is 2022's Pearl.
Caring for your family during these times is admirable. But you only get one take at this life.
If only they would just die.
Pardon?
Nothing. I want to be special, dancing up on the screen like the pretty girls in the pictures.
I will not let you leave this farm again.
I'm worried there may be something real wrong with me. Rumor has it they only take one gal per town.
We're looking for someone with X Factor.
Has to be me.
How about a film nobody else has seen?
Is it legal?
Will be eventually.
I know what I've done. Bad things. Terrible, awful, murderous things. I want to be loved from as many people as possible. But truth is, I'm not really a good person.
Yeah, John? How'd you feel about Pearl, the second part of the X trilogy?
Well, you know, I felt the exact... Like, each one I thought was... the trilogy I thought was about equally as good. Maybe slight differences.
Mm-hmm.
This one I was like, this is like the exact same. Pearl is a prequel that is about the old lady from the X film. She's a little young lady, and she lives with a German mother who is very strict, and a father who caught, polio? What did he have?
He got some kind of disease and stuff. He's like bedridden in his chair and bed. He can't do anything for himself.
So the movie takes place, 1918?
Somewhere during World War I with America's involvement in it.
Oh, yeah.
So around that time.
I think it was 1918. Alright. And, Pearl's living with her strict German mother, her wheelchair dad, and the German mom's kind of a bitch. But I guess she's probably been through a whole lot. I guess her mother's been through a whole lot, and she's kind of like really strict on her daughter. But boy, how did she piss me off. Why didn't she piss you off?
No.
No?
No.
You like the mom?
The mom talks about how with America being at war and she's German and so Pearl's like part German, that a lot of the German people in America at the time are being discriminated against, and so she tells her she has to be extra careful, extra nice, extra clean, extra everything, so that she doesn't call any attention to herself, really.
Well, Pearl had a nice, great southern accent, unlike the mother.
Yeah.
And Pearl could probably hide it. So the movie's about Pearl's sister-in-law comes over, and like her and her mom bring them some food because they know how poor they are. And of course the mother just says, fuck you, she don't want their charity. And but while all this is going down, Pearl and her sister-in-law have a talk, and her sister-in-law brings up a fact that there's some dance troupe coming through doing auditions in town, and Pearl wants to be a dancer, and she wants to be one of those girls in the movie that dances and stuff. And she's got this big dream, which, kind of was like, oh, that That's kind of like me, except I can't dance. But anyway, so I kind of sympathize with her. And she goes in town and she loves movies, and she goes sees this little silly movie. But while she's there, she meets a projectionist who's played by Superman. What's his name? Like John Cornsweet or
I don't know.
something Cornsweet's his name. Sean, put the name down. Something Cornsweet. So anyway, Superman is hitting on her hardcore, even though she's already married, and her husband's at the World War I doing some fighting, and he also mentions that he served in the military. So when I saw that, I was like, maybe that's her husband in X, because I knew he served from the old man served in the military. I just didn't know if it was her husband who's serving currently, or if it's this guy and she leaves her husband for this guy, and he becomes the old man in the first film. So I kind of like that. Like it can go either way, you know. And then she goes back home, and she's, you know, her mom's being a bitch some more, and she keeps sneaking out to go see this guy. And then just one day, her and her mother get into an argument about her wanting to do that dance thing, and they get a huge argument, and she accidentally catches her mother on fire, and that was pretty intense. And she kind of hints too at one point that she's going to tip her father in the wheelchair to be the alligator. You kind of see how her and the alligator kind of become friends, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, she names the alligator. She feeds it. She like threw a dead goose to it one day and everything. So.
Yeah. I guess her. Also, there's a scene doing, and I forgot to mention, when she's coming home from the movies, she stops by this cornfield and dances with a scarecrow, and then pretends to ride his dick. And I think that's the only sex scene in this film. You do see like an old school porno, but this is kind of weird. What do you think of that scene?
Which one?
The one where she's riding the scarecrow's.
It happened. Okay.
It happened. Okay, I thought it was a little weird. I was like, oh, okay, she's dancing with a scarecrow. That's cool. And then I thought the scarecrow was a dead body because he looked pretty realistic there for a little bit. I was like, oh, that's a realistic fucking scarecrow. I thought he was gonna come alive, or she was. I thought at one point she might put a dead body in that scarecrow's place. Kind of like what was that movie? Return of the Scarecrow or Day of the Scarecrow. Well, she brings her new boyfriend over after she lit her mother on fire, and she kind of starts being weird, and he kind of gets creeped out by her, and she starts getting really intense with him. And then he goes, you know what, I'm just going to leave, you freak me out. And then she stabs him to death with a pitchfork. And it's like, not Superman! And she pushes him into the lake. And I was like, damn, I bet that thing's full of fucking cars. Because you see like one or two cars go in it in the first movie. And then he gets to the dance thing, and she's like, I gotta make it. And she does her dance, and they tell her no, because she's not blonde. And she's, has a panic attack and is crying. Her sister-in-law agrees to take her home. And they have this is probably the best part of the film, was when they get home, and she goes, what's going on, Pearl? Tell me. She goes, just pretend I'm your husband, and I'm not here. You're talking to your husband. And Pearl does a 5-minute monologue that is so incredible. I think acting wise, this is probably the best part of the whole trilogy. This whole monologue was just great. And she's having this whole conversation with someone who's not there. And then finally, after this whole monologue, she admits to cheating on her husband, killing some folks, this and that and that. And time you pan over, after the monologue's over, you see her sister-in-law's freaked the fuck out, and she tries to get away, and Pearl's like, oh, hold on now, and she makes her confess that she got the dancing gig, and she did, and she chases after her and kills her with the axe, and after all these people are dead, and she ends up smothering the dad too at one point. And after everybody's dead, finally her husband comes back, and he sees her having family dinner with her parents, who are both corpses. They have that pig that her sister-in-law's mother brought. I guess it'd be her mother-in-law brought, that's covered in maggots. and he walks into a whole madness. And that's kind of just where the movie ends. And she smiles for like 5 fucking minutes, and then the credits roll. It's a pretty crazy ending. Dwayne, what's your thoughts on all this?
So I like Pearl.
Okay.
Like Sean said, it takes place during World War I time. Her husband's away. When the sister-in-law and mother-in-law bring food, they bring a pig, which the mom leaves out on the porch and it gets covered in flies and maggots. She's too prideful to accept it. Pearl goes and watches movies and pretends it's her on the screen. She just wants to be a star and everything. And then when she gets a big break and they tell her that she's just normal, she's not pretty enough and everything, she's all upset. And like Sean said, the best part of the movie that everybody talks about, and when you watch it, you'll realize it is that monologue near the end where she's talking to her sister-in-law named Mitzi. She's like, "Is there something wrong with me?" She says, "I hate my husband." She talks about loving her husband all the time. Then she says she hates him for going away and leaving her on the farm, not taking her someplace else. She's stuck on the farm looking after her invalid dad and her strict mother who's just really mean to her.
Yeah.
And she tells Mitzi she's mad at her brother, her husband. And then she says, "Is there something wrong with me?" She goes, "I have murderous thoughts. She's killing animals. She talks about wanting to kill people and hurt people all the time. She's talking about cheating on her husband. She does all these evil things and mean things, and she just keeps saying, "Is there something wrong with me?" And then Mitzi's like, "No, Pearl, you're fine. I gotta go now." And then Pearl realizes, like you said, she realizes that Mitzi got that part, and then she's like, "You're not gonna tell nobody?" And Mitzi's like, "No, I'll never tell anybody." And then she walks out of the house, and then you see Pearl come out. They just look at each other. And Mitzi starts to run, and Pearl grabs that axe and starts chasing her down.
Oh, yeah.
And kills her. And feeds her to the alligator. And then, like Sean said, at the end, she has a dinner for when her husband comes home. And, it could be days later after all this happened. For all we know is that the food's rotten. The pig is almost bones because the flies and maggots have eaten it all. And she's got the whole dead family there. And she's like, "Oh, you're home." And she's all happy as can be. And just like I said, at the end credits, while the credits are rolling, she's just there staring at the camera, smiling and laughing, then starts crying because of how horrible everything is, and it's just really good character development on Pearl, and you find out why she was the way she was in the first movie. So I very, very, very like Pearl. When I sat down to do reviews on this, I had my iPad, and I'm typing out like little notes and everything, like what I want to talk about. And for Maxine and X, I wrote good down notes.
Yeah.
For Pearl, I almost wrote like a whole 3 pages of notes about how much I enjoyed this movie. So I'm giving Pearl 8.5.
8.5.
A little bit. It's better than X. So I'm giving it 8.5. It's almost a 9, but
Okay.
8.5, 8 3/4, 8 3/4, 8 9/10, people.
All right.
8 9/10 on Pearl.
One far away from 9.
All right, 9.
Oh,
9.
You gonna get 9?
9.
All right.
Give Pearl 9.
Yes. So a couple things about this movie. Honestly, after watching the whole trilogy, I would, if I want to rewatch, I'm gonna rewatch Pearl first.
Sure.
And one thing I like about it is they don't. You can watch it in any order because yes, X came out first. However, Pearl takes place first. They don't mention anything from the first. Without that would spoil the first movie. So it's almost. It doesn't matter which order you watch it in. Honestly, I think having Pearl in the middle disrupts the flow of X to Maxine. So I would recommend watching Pearl first.
Yeah, I think when they filmed it, they made X, and then Maya Goth, as a director, talked about how they need to have a backstory for Pearl. He
Yeah.
was wanting to make it, so they kind of filmed them back to back. They filmed X, and then when they cut the rest of the cast to let them go, I guess, then they filmed Pearl right after it. And, they're like, hey, if X is good, then we'll release Pearl. That's why they're both released the same year, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, both of them done good. Let's make a third movie called Maxine.
I can't tell which one I like between X and Pearl better. They're almost dead even. I think X I enjoy as a movie better, but I think acting-wise, Pearl is slightly better.
That's how I feel on them. I think X is a better, good horror movie.
Yeah.
It's more horror than Pearl, but Pearl is a great character development movie.
Okay, well, here are my pros and cons for Pearl. My pros: fantastic ending monologue, pretty cool kills, great acting. Also, you got Superman. My cons: not a whole lot of horror in this film. Doesn't really come in towards like the really back half of the film. All right, guys. I'm gonna give Pearl 8 if I only had a cock out of 10. That's a reference to the Scarecrow sex scene.